Trevor Blaney sees a different Isle of Wight to the one enjoyed by day trippers and tourists. Driving with him in his 4x4 on one of the last days of summer, you start to see his version too. "There's a lad living in the hedge over there, who we help out," he will say. Or he will point out derelict holiday chalets or boarded-up hotels in which people have made their homes. Blaney is a native of South Yorkshire, but he has lived here for 30 years. He first started to see the island in a new way when he volunteered at a council-backed homeless shelter. It was okay, he recalls, but it was clear that the real problems lay with people who were excluded from the night shelter because of their addictions or mental health. Being a rural place, these people take to the woods and the fields rather than shop doorways. They are less visible. I decided to go out and find these people and try to look after them. At the end of 2014, Blaney borrowed a catering trailer from a friend and started a Facebook page with some of the images of people he had found sleeping rough in November. 2 young men living in a 3-sided corrugated-on shelter, others in makeshift tents in the woods or on the beach. The page had a slow start, but it gained momentum. To begin with, only my friends saw it, Blaney says. Oddly, people who I had been to school with and hardly seen since, first donated a $5 here and a $10 there. 1 month's DIY mission to feed the homeless video. Blaney is an engineer by background. He retired at 50 to live off the income from some of the patents he had established, notably for a bath plug that changes color if the water temperature is too hot. He insists, not religious and not political, but he saw his pop-up soup kitchen as a way of helping to address one of the island's most intractable problems. Over the course of that winter, his idea caught the imagination of local people. Supermarkets contacted him to offer the food that was going to waste, and it went from there. That first winter I fed dozens of people, Blaney says. That has now risen to hundreds. 1 week, I think I did meals for 225 people on the island. In the last 2 years, he has burned out 2 vans crisscrossing the 20 miles between the island's coasts. In the summer, he goes out a couple of times a week. In the winter it is every other day. Soup is very important because I can deliver it in flasks and it keeps warm for the next day, he says. When it started, I was making food at home. Now it is on more of an industrial scale. He gets a lot of help from students, some with learning difficulties, at the local Institute of Technology. They cook for the soup kitchen, so we take a lot of produce there. At any one time I have about 1,000 liters of soup available, he says. I give away more than 75 liters a week. Kale with ginger is a favorite among his regulars, and obviously chicken and veg. He takes me to a little settlement of trailers and shelters hidden behind a superstore, a place you would never guess from the road. The long-term residents of this makeshift settlement have helped him set up a temporary night shelter and alerted him to young people they know who are sleeping rough. The soup kitchen now has its own food drop-off points, with local businesses getting involved. I never know, Blaney says, when the phone will ring with someone saying, "We've done a big carvery and we've got all this left over," or a supermarket will call saying, "We have had a freezer breakdown." He's been called out to take surplus sandwiches from a funeral. Everyone on the island has me on speed dial, he says, with a laugh. The soup kitchen has become something of a local phenomenon, filling a few gaps the austerity council budget can't reach. It now has a charity shop in Newport. People bring sleeping bags. Hotels that have closed down have given their bedding. Blaney tries to let necessity be the mother of invention. The first winter I fed dozens of people. That's now risen to hundreds. 1 week, I did meals for 225 people. He has some ladies in Ryde who make jams and preserves. One particular woman's jam is so good he discovered that homeless people use it as currency. He is wary, too, of unintended consequences. The BBC did a feature on the soup kitchen, and one result seemed to be that there was an influx of homeless tourists who saw the Isle of Wight as a step up from what they were living with on the mainland. He takes me to another of his initiatives, a waste not want not horse box trailer cum food bank which he tours the island with on a rota. Inside, Vicky, a mum of 7 kids aged 10 to 19, is picking up a few essentials. She currently lives in a hostel room around the corner with 6 of the kids. The trailer is looked after by Dave, who along with Blaney's son is the only other soup kitchen organizer. None of them, including Blaney, take any salary. Dave fought in the Gulf War in 1991, and has severe PTSD. When he first came to the Isle of Wight and found himself homeless, he walked past Blaney's temporary night shelter in Ryde 5 times before he plucked up the courage to go in. The trailer is well stocked. We try to turn over things quickly, Blaney says. We get an abundance of things like eggs and sugar from supermarkets. If one egg gets broken, or a sugar packet splits, they have to throw the lot away. Eggs and flour go to a women's refuge where they do baking. The sugar I often give to a local Indian restaurant in return. Abdul, who runs it, gives me vouchers for homeless people and they can redeem them for a free takeaway. He gets a bit of publicity on our Facebook page. When we launched that idea, it had 66,000 views. I have become a master of social media. I know where all the locations of secret food are, Dave says, with a smile. Trevor has freezers everywhere. In the office, we have 600 sausages, 400 liters of soup, ready to go. And we have a couple of phones people can use if they want to get hold of family. Along with his son, Blaney has developed another rough-and-ready solution. If there is a caravan going begging somewhere, we toss it up and persuade a farmer to put it in the corner of a field, and that can be a home for someone, with a heater, a bed. The size of his operation allows him to move much more quickly and more flexibly than more established charities, he believes. If someone gets their tent and belongings burned overnight, I need to act fast to get them somewhere to stay. Or I will get someone a suit so he has a bit of dignity at his parents' funeral. When people ask Blaney what is the solution to homelessness, he offers no easy answers. Politicians who suggest there is a magic bullet are wrong. You don't get rid of the problems that lead to homelessness easily. The key thing, he believes, is just to make people a bit comfortable and then work from there. If you get people the basics, some hot food, a decent bed, they can start to cope and a bit more is possible. popupsoupkitchen.co.uk